Now, a multi-sector task team will be set up to respond to the water crisis that has led to a deadly cholera outbreak in Tshwane. This has been revealed by Water and Sanitation Minister Senzo Mchunu. 20 people have now died after falling ill, while scores others are still being treated in hospitals. Meanwhile, one person has also died in Vredefort in the Free State due to cholera. Mchunu considered the situation could have been avoided.
It's going to be a multi-sector kind of a task team to drive whatever we are going to be agreeing on led by DWS, but it will essentially involve Tshwane because this is their terrain, because we are not pushing them out. They are going to be very much involved and be part. But Mayor Brink didn't hide the fact that they have a problem of capacity, including in running processes of procurement and all of that. In other words, supply chain. He didn't hide that. He was humble enough to come clear with it. So those are the areas that we're going to look at and strengthen, and therefore it will have to be, this will have to be driven by a professional team.
Senzo Mchunu, the Minister there of Water and Sanitation. Now there's a legal battle that's looming over this cholera outbreak in the Hammanskraal area of the city of Tshwane. Now 20 people have died, with around 67 others still in hospitals due to gastrointestinal infections that they got in Hammanskraal. This is the latest that we have in terms of numbers for you. Now in studio, I'm joined by the lawyer who's representing Hammanskraal residents being affected by this cholera outbreak, Lesego Kwakwa. Kwakwa, good afternoon. Welcome to eNCA. Yes. Thank you for coming all the way from Tshwane this afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon, brother, and good afternoon to the viewers. And
yeah. So this process of is it a civil suit process?
It's multifaceted. It's going to be both civil and also criminal. And for a simple reason, you know, in our country, there's been a trend where there'll be challenges that are faced by the people. Then we'd go to court and sue on civil basis. Then the court may agree with us and issue an order that compensation must be given to the affected people. Who's going to pay that compensation is still the taxpayers. The responsible people who are negligent, who are reckless, are still in employment, they're still continuing, causing more damage. So in this instance, because of the South African Human Rights Commission report of 2019 and 2021, which recommended that provision of water services must be transferred to the National Department of Water and Sanitation. That was a recommendation based on investigations, expert analysis.
And that was 4 years ago.
And that was 4 years ago. And the city of Tshwane rejected that. Okay. It continued with that. So for that reason, our view is that there could be criminal responsibility on the part of individuals within the city of
is it not harder to prove a criminal liability?
No. Remember that in our law, in South African law, criminal liability is based on conduct and fault. The fault is either in a form of intention or negligence. So in this instance, if we all agree that there's this report by the Human Rights Commission, which made these recommendations based on evidence, expert report, interviews with the community members, a number of experts, including professors and all those things. Now, the city of Tshwane then decide to reject the advances by the national government to say that let us assist you in terms of capacity, budget, and also personnel. They refused. So now, here we are sitting with a situation whereby people are dying now. It's a massacre. Our view is that this is intentional, it's a massacre, and I don't want to suspect that perhaps it could be the reason that Hammanskraal is largely dominated by black people. We don't want to reach that point. But at this point, we are saying that we won't only be satisfied with civil claim, we also want criminal liability.
Are you consulting the residents? And so far, what are they telling you?
No. We are in consultation. And actually, Brother, this issue did not come to us now. I've been working with the local leadership there and a number of stakeholders there in Hammanskraal community forums and councillors and all those things. The councillors of Hammanskraal consists of over 10 wards. In 2022, in August, they wrote a letter to the Human Rights Commission saying that there's this recommendation from the Gauteng provincial chapter of the Human Rights Commission. What are you doing with ensuring that the remedies are implemented? Because
this is a year after the original report.
That is a year after the original report. That is last year, sometime in August.
Yes.
The South African Human Rights Commission sent letters of acknowledgement and all those things. But then this issue of water has been there in Hammanskraal, I think, since 2008. And it's known by everyone.
And it's been getting worse.
And it's been getting worse. Okay. The only thing that we have seen as residents and also as professionals outside was politicization of this important issue, which now it has created a very serious crisis in many families. And they
well, 20 families have lost their loved ones as we speak today.
Yeah.
So who are you charging?
Well, at this point, preliminary, based on what we have, the fault seems to lie with the City of Tshwane. We're not going to be excluding a number of other departments, be it at provincial level or national department. But then I saw the statement of the Minister of Water and Sanitation, where he clearly stated that the regional department was willing to intervene in that issue in Hammanskraal. The City of Tshwane rejected those advances after the Human Rights Commission report.
Yeah, and from what I understand from the Municipal Act is that municipalities are responsible for supplying some of those utilities.
No, definitely.
So the City of Tshwane has a responsibility to make sure that its residents receive clean and safe water.
Primarily. But then remember that the Constitution also says that, which is the supreme law of the Republic, says that all government spheres must cooperate, cooperative governance. If an institution, a Chapter 9 institutions like the Human Rights Commission says, we recommend that national government intervenes, there was no reason for the City of Tshwane to play politics about that. Regardless of which political party is in charge and so forth, at municipal level or at national level. The issue here is about basic service to the people.
So I would assume, correct me if I'm wrong, that you'll go back to 2019 as a point of reference in terms of that Human Rights Commission report and see who was in charge of the City of Tshwane at the time, because there were clear recommendations for implementation, which were never done. And we are 3 years down the line, 4 years down the line, and 20 people have died. So in terms of formulating, putting together your legal argument or your legal papers, are you going to be doing it like that?
No, definitely so, brother. And also, the fact that, we want an explanation from the City of Tshwane, in the sense that what was the reason, or what were the reasons that led them to decide in rejecting the recommendations by the Human Rights Commission. I saw yesterday the mayor and the MMC for Finance in Tshwane, they were quick to announce that they've made available 405 million rands to deal with the Rooiwal plantation. But then our worry here is that, and I think this thing is a trend in South Africa, where government departments or government entities or officials or politicians would intervene in situations after deaths of people. This has happened in Marikana, this has happened in Life Esidimeni.
We wait for a crisis before we act.
You understand what I'm saying? So, hence we say that our approach is that because people know, or these officials, they know that there won't be any criminal charges directed against them. So we need to look into ensuring that some people are held accountable and criminally accountable.
Okay, you are the lawyer here, I'm not. So when you hold people criminally accountable in a matter like this, are you going to hold the council as a collective at the time of whatever date you choose, criminal liable, or are you going to go to individuals?
That is a good question, actually, brother, because that becomes very important. But then remember that there's nothing in our law that is preventing us from holding the whole council liable. Hence, I say to you that we are in the process of writing a letter of demand to the council to say that they must advance reasons as to why they rejected the Human Rights Commission report.
And also the offer from the Water and Sanitation Department.
And also the offer from the
National Department.
And somebody must tell us as to, was it a council resolution? Was it an executive decision by the MMC or the mayor? And all those things. If it was an executive decision by a mayor or an MMC, we would then consider focusing on this individual.
As a direct individual?
As a direct individual,
Okay.
yes.
So what, from a civil suit, let's just look at this before we conclude, Ntate Kwakwa. The civil one, I mean, you look for compensation, okay? And you're consulting residents.
Yes.
I mean, you can't compensate somebody who's lost a loved one, really. You can't
Yes.
bring anybody
No,
back.
yes.
But is there an idea that's shaping up in the consultations? What kind of compensation people could be looking at in terms of financial compensation?
You know, at this stage, we like I say, and you are correct that there are some of our clients that have lost, their loved ones, and that they lost their loved ones and all those things. But then at this point in time, what we are saying, and that is an organization. We are Hammanskraal Lawyers Association. It's a number of attorneys and advocates involved. And we've received...
You're based in Hammanskraal?
I'm based in Hammanskraal, but yeah, I'm based in Hammanskraal. So there are a number of people that are coming through to assist in terms of legal process that we are undertaking. But then also, what we are saying right now is to approach the High Court with an application to compel the City of Tshwane to provide clean water to the residents. On the issue of compensation, it's quite a sensitive issue, brother. We can't easily go to the families that have lost people or the families that have their loved ones in hospitals and talk about compensations and so forth.
It's too early, still
The aim right now is to ensure that this crisis is dealt with, and also there's some form of legal accountability by the suspected perpetrators of this crisis.
When are you writing
Because
that
our view, brother, is that, and sorry for that, President, our view is that there's human hand in this death of our people. There's human hands. Clearly there's human hands. They may say cholera and all those things. Okay, we are waiting the results and all those things. But then reality of the matter is that at this point in time, myself personally, I'm very worried that many people could have died as a result of that water, and their death is unaccounted for. Because that water, for an example, a person will drink a water from a tap, and after they'll have stomach aches and all those things. And, maybe that was not reported. So I think this is a bigger problem than what we are seeing today.
Are you suggesting or saying that someone was responsible directly, that intentionally killing the people?
That's our view. And that is a view based on, it's not a view that someone holds by reading a newspaper or something. No. It's a view based on multifaceted documents and evidences. And,
and you'll take all of that to court?
No, definitely. I mean, you'll remember, brother, if you do, in 2015 when Solomon Simanga was campaigning to be a mayor in Tshwane, he raised this issue. It was one of the issues on his campaign list.
2015?
2015.
8 years ago?
8 years ago. It was there. He became a mayor. We don't know what he did with it, but that's for politicians to deal with that. In a couple of years ago, when the Economic Freedom Fighters was campaigning in Hammanskraal, the president of Economic Freedom Fighters, Mr. Julius Malem, raised this issue. And the Human Rights Commission report is very clear, brother. It says that Hammanskraal water is not fit for human consumption. You
talk about a human hand. Do you think there's a bigger political failure here by the leadership?
No, definitely.
Of the Tshwane Metro?
No, we can't shy away from raising these things. There are some people that receive tenders of over 250 million to do certain activities to refurbish and repair the Royval plantation. What has happened?
The water treatment plant.
We are told that that the 250 million went to people who the SIU yesterday is saying that it's looking into investigating. No one was held accountable. We don't know where that 250 million went to, and now we have this situation. So human hand, I can assure you, brother, will be found based on the activities that will definitely launch very soon.
Now, at a personal level, you come from Hammanskraal. Yes. I know you've come here as a lawyer representing the residents. Yes. You are preparing this case together. But I need to ask you a personal question, and as a Hammanskraal resident. 20 people have died now.
Yes.
And you are very strong in saying that someone is responsible for this. There are human hands here. But now, as a young South African, when you look at this situation, are you confident that whatever they are saying now, the politicians, because they are now promising all kinds of actions and stuff, that they will finally deliver, and it has taken lives for them to do so?
No, we don't believe them at all. From a personal point of view, I don't believe them. And we have had so many promises since 1994. I was there. I mean, we don't believe them. What I can say to you is that we were advising our communities that from now on we should establish a new culture, brother, of taking these people to courts, not going to the streets, because it appears as if they are used to the fact that the people will go to the street or block roads. We're no longer going to do that. At least I can speak on behalf of the community of Hammanskraal. We're no longer going to do that. We'll sit down, invite relevant people, take these people to court. The right to access to water, it's a basic right entrenched in the Constitution and multilateral treaties and also international conventions of the United Nations. It's a basic right. It is there in the Constitution. And remember that our Constitution is enforceable in a court of law. And I think that should be the culture that many people in our townships adopt.
So are you saying it's high time now that politicians, like in this particular case, are held personally, criminally liable?
No, definitely.
If the situation deems it
that is exactly
necessary.
That is exactly our position. But hence I said initially when I started that on the issue of compensation, yes, well, if it comes to that point, then we'll see.
Okay, so when are we going to see, what are the next steps now?
We are currently in the process of consultation with a number of stakeholders, experts, and community leaders. Over the weekend, we'll be having a meeting, which would then give us an idea as to what becomes the way forward from next week. I know that the minister, they have appointed a multidisciplinary task team and all those things. Let them continue. They are not doing anything special, brother. That is their job. They should have done that without people passing away.
You don't seem to be impressed by these efforts as a Hammanskraal resident.
Well, we are welcoming these efforts, but we are simply saying that this is nothing special because that is part of his mandate.
Yeah.
It could have been done.
Or put another way, I don't want to put words into your mouth. I mean, you're a lawyer, I might be in trouble. Put another way, it did not have to cost the lives of 20 people to get here.
My point exactly.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much. That's a lawyer representing Hammanskraal residents, himself from that area of Tshwane, been affected by the cholera outbreak, Lesego Kwakwa. Very clear they are going to go, so to speak, for the legal jugular. They're going to be looking at who to charge individually, criminally, in the city of Tshwane, let alone in helping the residents put together a civil suit. It's going to be both kind of legal instruments they're going to be going with. There's consultations that are going to be happening this weekend. I'm sure we'll find out how they go, and we'll bring whatever details that come through here on eNCA.